Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Comfy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers everywhere for all time. Anyone that's come before, anyone that will come after. Quite literally, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And I know we've got many Patriot moms in the chat right now. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say we love you, we appreciate you. Thanks for all you've done for us. We're going to be hanging out in the second hour with my own mom, Real Red Pill Mom. I just want to say a special shout out to all the mods helping to keep that chat comfy. Thank you to everyone who's been hanging out and waiting. We've got 877 people here with 385 likes. Please do consider leaving a like and sharing this broadcast on your favorite social media platform. Thank you, Rosetta Stone, for joining as a member. And in other news, we will address your question after the break. Quite the day. Some incredible hashtags are trending. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more. All right, fam. Sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. In recent reports, criminals are now using American citizens' social security numbers, home addresses, and other personal information to steal their stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. The scale of the fraud has been enormous, fueled by the recent pandemic and the confusion surrounding the $2 trillion stabilization plan that President Donald Trump unveiled last month. It's becoming more obvious how smart it is to protect yourself from an identity attack. IdentiSafe offers identity protection for as low as $9.99 a month. They provide access to credit monitoring, dark web scans, 24/7 identity agent support, real-time credit notifications, social security monitoring, full dark web scans, change of address alerts, personal identity monitoring, white glove restoration, credit monitoring, credit score tracking, a full credit report, up to $1 million in insurance, and there is a 30-day money-back guarantee. I personally use and trust IdentiSafe to protect myself and my family's identities. So don't delay, sign up today, it's free for 30 days, and plus they have that 30-day money-back guarantee. And right now they're offering a 20% off discount to new members in respect to the recent crisis. To redeem this coupon, please visit protectwithredpill.com. Once again, that's www.protectwithredpill.com. The link is in the description, and remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. Welcome back, friends and neighbors and methods. Thank you once again for joining us on Comfy Sunday.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be here. I'm glad we decided to do this. I know it was up in the air for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to hang out with everybody. I hope everybody's having a great Mother's Day. Shout out to all the moms out there. Excited to have your mom on the show. I got a Rolodex of questions I want to ask her.
She's excited to be here, too.
Right now, she's great, man. And everybody knows her in the chat. She hangs out, really helps us with the modding. So it's really, really cool. But, I mean, I obviously, because it wasn't on my watch on a show here, we gotta follow up on the Great Dog War, UK20 AD. I see a lot of people talking about it. They apparently want our opinions. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I saw the clip, and I've been laughing all day. Anytime it shows up, I watch it, and I die laughing. So, yeah, man, how do you feel about it?
It's gotten quite the play. I wasn't necessarily thinking that was going to happen when it went down. Okay, so here's how it all went through. So I'm on the show. I'm talking to John. We're engaged in conversation, and I can kind of tell that there's something happening under the desk. I mean, I'm at a standing desk. I'm not sitting, so the dogs have beds underneath, and they're down there, and normally they're just sleeping. But occasionally they start like roughhousing, and normally it's very amicable play. I mean they're not going at each other. It's only happened like 3 times in the entire length of time that I've had them. But I could tell that they were starting to roughhouse. And the other times they got into a fight, it was because there was some type of like chew toy involved. Like maybe Muffin was guarding it and Chi-Chi wanted it, because they do have this game that they play. Like, Chi-Chi has only a couple of teeth left, and so Muffin will work on a rawhide, or it's not really a rawhide, it's like a pigskin chew thing. And she'll work on it for a while, and then when it gets soft, she passes it off to Chi-Chi. Like, she'll go get some water to drink, and then Chi-Chi will run over there and take it. And, he thinks he's getting one over on her because he's stealing it from her. But she just comes right over to me and asks for a brand new one. So, not a big deal. But this time, obviously, I was unable to intervene to, break them apart or to try to, give another chew toy so that one of them would lose interest in the fight. But I hear them starting to roll around, and then all of a sudden, it just sounded like a pack of wolves. Okay, they're like these low guttural howls, and they're going at each other.
No, we all heard it. It's exactly what you're talking about.
I thought that they were I thought that one of them was going to be seriously hurt, because like normally I can like get them apart, but like I was like, what do? I kind of froze. My guest, his eyes just like bugged out, and I saw him look at the other monitor because he was looking at his camera, and then he turned to look at the monitor, and I'm trying to break him up with my foot. I'm like, trying to get my foot in between them, and nothing's working. And I thought that I muted it because I like didn't want to be screaming, and I was, obviously that didn't help. I was still screaming into the mic. And so I had to like reach down and scoop Muffin up. And she's a thick little girl, okay? It's not easy to do one-handed, but I was able to get it. And, I took her out and I put her in bed, and then I just separated them, and everything was okay. I'm not mad at them. They're dogs. It's going to happen. It's unavoidable. So I came back and I just checked Chi-Chi out. There was no punctures or anything like that. Everything seemed cool. He just went right back to sleep. I mean, he's good. The thing about it is, Chi-Chi's a Chihuahua, and then Muffin is a Beagle Jack Russell mix. And they are both breeds, the Jack Russell and the Chi-Chi. They're breeds that are not going to back down. Like, they both are, like, just in it to win it. I think they were both bred to catch rats. So, they start going at it, and that's it. But everything's okay since then, I mean, they still are cuddling and hanging out and sleeping together. And I mean, Chi-Chi's Muffin's with me right now. Chi-Chi's downstairs sleeping on the couch. So, yeah, everything's good. I appreciate everybody getting a good time out of it.
No, well, I mean, we do the show for the audience, right? Like, we want to hang out with everybody. I'm seeing a lot of show the clip.
Show the clip. Okay, I can show the clip.
Why don't you, while you're grabbing it, though, I mean, Red Pill 78, the home of sports ball and dog fights. I mean, did you know you could have that tagline?
No, I never thought about it.
Yeah, because I happen to not, full disclosure, I didn't catch the show like live, and I wake up and I see a video, and the video is pushing like 100,000 views, and it's of you, and it says, "So this happened last night," and I'm like, "What happened?" And I remember you had DM'd me and say, "Did you hear the dogs fighting?" And I thought you meant like, did it pick up in a mic? They were in another room or something. So I see the video and I'm dying laughing all day. So, I mean, I just wish it happened with me on air, because that would have been a lot of fun to happen. But I mean, how it looked like on the clip, your guest handled it well. They moved right along.
Yeah, that was my favorite part, is that he didn't skip a beat. He was just like, and he just keeps talking. All right, so here's the clip, guys. Here's the clip, and it has 129,000 views.
You're viral on a dogfight video.
In 2017.
Hey! Sorry. You guys!
Wow. So in 2017,
I just love that he cut it right there.
No, perfect timing.
He's just gonna keep going.
No, shout out to him for covering it. I mean,
man.
I'm so grateful that we have that clip now.
Yeah,
because you know how I am about saving clips from our show.
Yeah. No, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So yeah, kudos to anybody who saw that and shared it and enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a very good time. You know, number one concern is that no animals were harmed in the filming of that segment, and you know, thank God they weren't. I was so worried for a second there.
Oh, I know, man, because I had to learn watching the clip, and I wanted to make sure that they were fine. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. You know, the dogs are a big, you know, there's a lot of fans out there of your pets.
Yes.
So, you know, they are okay. So.
Yes. No, they're great. They're great. I would love if I could maybe put out some videos, like maybe because I just started doing clips like yesterday, basically. So I was thinking like maybe I can just do some clips of just the dogs so like people can see them and then they'll know. You know, I mean, not everybody thought it was funny. Other people were shaming me for the way that I handled it. But I don't know what you're supposed to do in a situation like that. It's not like they're two pit bulls. You know, I mean, all you can do is just try to grab one and get it out of the way.
Right. And anybody shaming you, I dare them to get on a live stream with thousands of people watching and then have it happen at your feet.
Yeah.
And see what you do in real time.
Yeah. Give it a try, Bubba. Give it a try. All right. Let me just say thank you to, in other news. First of all, it says, do you think it'll be Gates? Shot heard around the world. Much love from Australia. So I guess that's talking about who might get arrested. Yeah, I find it unlikely that it would be Bill Gates, personally. You know, I think that it has to be someone more closely related to the American government. Because, I mean... You look at other countries, like, I don't know, I can't think of any right now, but I mean, I've seen other countries where former leaders have been arrested for corruption or things that they did when they were in power. And, you know, Bill Gates, I mean, he's already beat like a major antitrust case here in the United States. So didn't Microsoft have to pay out something like $10 billion, something crazy like that? You know,
it sounds familiar on that, but I mean, to this point, I'll still stand by the fact that if we're going to lay things in stages, right now under fire is the FBI for what they did.
Right.
So a shot heard around the world would be the entire apparatus that was investigating, you know, and spying on the Trump campaign and everybody involved. That's letting everybody know where it's going. Because if you bust the people that were setting them up, you know, in this coup, then you can work your way back on, all right, who was pulling whose strings, who was working with who, and go your way up. But I will say this, and I'm not at all trying to put this out there as saying this is who I believe, and I don't know, quote me on it, but the fact that, you know, all eyes are on Obama right now, if you notice the narrative, like, because you can pay attention to like what Fox News' talking points are with the right people we like, what Trump's saying, what his press secretary is saying, you know, insert Devin Nunes, all this stuff. It's what did Obama know? And I in the beginning didn't think it would go that far at first. I thought they were going to slow their way and like start with the FBI, going to the clowns, going to, you know, the intel agencies and that community in general, and work your way up to make the case. And they just went straight to what did Obama know? And it's an exciting uncomfortableness that you can see going on that I'm all about. I mean, I like these waters to swim in.
No, I mean, I totally agree. You know, I mean, when we were first trying to figure this out, I also thought that it would be unlikely that it would be Obama from at the very beginning. I thought that was too big. You know, they would need to start a little bit lower and then, you know, follow that thread, work their way up, see who was doing what for whom. And then, of course, we knew it would lead to Obama. But it really does seem like that's the first place they're going. And somebody in the chat said, if it was Barry, then it would seriously wake the entire world up. And I have to agree. I mean, that would be just such a bold statement. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. You know, I mean, we had that testimony from Sally Yates come out the other day saying that she was told about the phone call with Flynn. Why was he listening to General Flynn's phone calls? Why was he listening to those phone calls? You know, I mean, or was it that the Clowns in America, John Brennan, was the one who was getting the tapes and then handing them over to him? I don't know. I mean, he said at the beginning that he wanted to be read in on absolutely everything that was taking place. So I think you need to start there. I think you need to start there, and it would seriously just like crack open the consciousness of the American public. Anybody who hasn't come to the realization of how high up this went.
Right. Like, I mean, if this wasn't an election year, because you're talking about arresting, indicting the president before this one. Right. That to me, like if it wasn't it, let's say that it was this year or next year at this time, it would make a lot of sense as a shot heard around the world for him to go down. And so as far as like I'm at the roulette table of who's going down first, I have a lot of chips on the starting of, the FBI people and all of that stuff.
Right.
But I have a few saved over that I put over on Obama's spot. Because that to me it would wake up everybody really, really quick. And if there's a plan on how of course there is, but on how they're going to disseminate this information and go about these, indictments. I mean, then again, you have like our favorite Anon pointing at the first set. So to me, it's like, it's got to be the people that were investigating, right? The ones that were doing the grunt work and doing all that. And then you work your way up. That's just my 2 cents, but it would be a great surprise for it to start at the top and go down.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that it seemed logical to me that because we had that set, we would probably see an initial just push. We're going to get 6 names all at once. All of these people are being charged. But if they started with, the one at the top and then immediately thereafter announced the rest of it, that would make sense too. The other great thing about it is if they go after him, then he's not going to be able to claim that Trump is trying to get rid of him because he's running against him for office. I mean, he's already been in office. It's over. There's not another chance. So, I mean, I don't see any reason that they would be able to call President Trump, getting rid of him for interfering or something like that. I mean, he clearly, everything that he did was to, all the shadow diplomacy that was going on, shadowing the president on his trips to foreign nations, meeting with people in different countries when he's no longer in power. It's pretty obvious to me that that would be a bold move. I really do think that would just set it all off.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, we've all been paying attention for this long. We see the writing on the wall. A lot of these transcripts coming out just kind of gave us, that sauce we needed to justify what we assumed and what our favorite Anon pointed at. Think about the public. The ones that haven't had the time to pay attention to it or think that we're too crazy, so they just denounce everything we're talking about. Obama was the savior. He was a savior president.
Oh, yeah.
And they still tout that. I'm talking about the people that are that close-minded, because I know that we can't save everyone as far as like waking them up, red pilling them, even though a lot of us want the same things and others just want to see the world burn. You've got to build the narrative for probably a little while on how bad Obama was. And so these other things that we're going to get into tonight starts painting that picture, and you need that picture painted and seen by a lot of people for a little while. And what better way than you start saying, all right, these people that were answering to Obama are getting arrested with hard evidence. And then you work your way up. But once again, I'm excited because I don't know the answer per se, but we talked about this earlier. There's a lot of nothing's going to happen tweets and replies that we've been getting for 2 or 3 years now. And I'm seeing a lot less of those. I mean, I don't know about you, but
it's a statistically significant number. There are far less,
Right.
maybe like a handful, 2 or 3 that I've noticed over the last couple of days. And even those were pretty weak. I mean, saying stuff, like, oh, I want to see talk, or I want to see action, not talk. All right. Well, I mean, if General Flynn's exoneration wasn't enough for you to kind of set us on this path, I mean, I don't know what you're going to need to see. Obviously, people want to see arrests. They want to see the perp walk. I mean, for me, it's a foregone conclusion. I know this is going to happen. All right. The evidence just continues to mount, and you have important people with power talking about these horrific things that this former administration did. President Trump is saying it. You don't just throw around the treason word lightly.
Right.
You can't. I mean, he stated point blank he wanted to see the highest and most severe punishment possible for the people who did this to him. If it's treason, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, it's the gallows. I mean,
Right.
There's nothing you can do.
I mean, yeah, if we commit, certain crimes, there's different levels and different different, punishments and consequences that come with those on that tier level. So I agree with you. And I know you're about to get into the super chats, but I feel like asking the chat, let's just keep it simple. We're talking about we're talking level Comeys, McCabe's, like that whole crew of people, Strzok, Clapper, all that. Give me a 1 if you think that, based on what you're seeing now happen in the landscape of things going on, give me a 1 if you think arrests are going to happen that are of that kind of tier level, and give me a 2 if you still think nothing's going to happen. I'm really interested just to see what the chat says about that. So 1, arrests are going to happen at that kind of level. 2, it's not going to happen.
Now, I also want to say Essential just said that there won't be any perp walks. President Trump has more grace than that. I want to clarify what I mean by that. There will be coverage on this stuff, okay? The people who get arrested, their faces are going to grace some of the most, popular mainstream media publications. It's going to be unavoidable. I'm not one of those people who believes that there will be some public, an ending for this. They're not going to get their punishment in the public square or anything like that. But they will be shown to be guilty. There will be, probably live coverage of the court cases. People will be photographed if they're getting, arrested and taken out of their apartments or their DC brownstones. It's going to happen, it's inevitable. Especially because the mainstream media is not going to have anything else to cover. They're going to have to talk about this stuff. All right. Gaffernon says, are the dogs in quarantine out? Woof, woof, Obamagate. Yes, we're going to be talking about Obamagate some more in just a second. Tire Queen says, I'm here for the dog fights. Hey, you guys, LOL. Yep, we are. Yeah, we're guaranteed dog fights on this channel. Dead McDizzle says, biblical significance of 17, victory, God wins. Michael Kenny says, Clegane Bowl 2020. I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, so I'm glad that you threw that in. Bruce Wayne says, as the owner of a 50-year-old pet hotel, you did good, kid. Thank you, Bruce. I respect your opinion because I know that you run a classy establishment. Hannah BR12 says, Soros and Obama. That's her guess. Sheila Garrett says, Obama, look what Saudi Arabia did to Al-Walid, so it could happen. I think that Saudi Arabia is a slightly more barbaric society than us here in America. They will cut people's hands off for stealing, and that doesn't happen here. But, it's possible, man. It's very possible. Something could happen. Gloria Paddock says, OMG, that was so great. Red Pills Warhawk says, bro, President Trump's Instagram. I don't have Instagram, so methods is that? Can you search for President Trump's Instagram and maybe
I can go look too, but they typically give me like that faux cover that says I need to sign in to look at stuff. But I'll go look real quick.
All right.
And based on the little poll that we did in the chat, it was comfortably 95% ones.
Okay.
That's exciting because that's how we felt throughout this whole time. I know sometimes we think it might happen at certain times and it doesn't. It makes it discouraging, but I'm glad that we have an audience that, for the most part, and I understand other people that don't. I get that. We'll have that moment hopefully here in the future to where we can all just get past it and say it happened.
Right.
But no, it's really exciting to see that kind of like optimism out there because we feel the same way.
Yeah. Brent Schmidt says, which courts will receive them? Military tribunals. I don't see any other way around that. A regular civilian court, and obviously they're not going to be able to do that in D.C. It's going to be too biased. I think a military tribunal is like the best possible place to do it. Because we're talking about people who tried to overthrow the government of the United States, and the military is there to protect the United States. That makes the most sense to me. Let's see. Philip says, I'm PO'd at the line at the Cheesecake Factory. It's too long. I have a confession to make. I've never been to a Cheesecake Factory. So every time somebody talks about how good it is, I guess I have an appreciation for certain types of cheesecake, so I'm sure it must be good. Tree Climbing says, no one has ever asked Barry about his part in this. No, they haven't. I think that there's probably an unspoken rule between any mainstream media journalist that's interviewed Barry and and himself that's not going to come up there. We're not going to talk about that. Presidential privilege, whatever you want to say. But I will say this, Methods, that interview that he did, was that with Michael Sussman? It was a podcast or something like that. just this past week, and he was talking about how the rule of law is breaking down in the United States with General Flynn, getting off on he said perjury, but he wasn't charged with perjury.
I mean, I might be getting that confused with the leaked phone call.
Is that what it was? It was a leaked phone call? I thought it was a podcast.
It might have been. I don't know. I didn't look into it as far as where it exactly came from. I just know that they said it was leaked. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you listen to it, and I know a lot of people made the point, and it's good to make a note of it, how convenient for that to leak out, because there might be something that he's speaking and, double speak out the side of his mouth, giving, direction and order to people that are still following his shadow presidency. But you could hear, obviously he sucks without a teleprompter, but you could hear the nervousness kind of in his voice about this being that big of a deal.
That's why yeah.
Right. I mean, you think about how Flynn being exonerated means there's evidence opposite of the fact of what he was being accused of, which means that he was being set up, because then once again, you go look at the media, you go look at the other people that, were involved in the investigation when they were doing testimonies, or in the media itself doing their little, talks, getting paid for things to say. I mean, to me, it's definitely, condemning is a better word. Now, was it Trump's Instagram that they were asking about?
Yes, Trump's Instagram. All right. So this was a leaked call with members of his ex-administration. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. No, the one that I'm seeing, the newest Instagram post on that is that meme that said, "Hope you have fun investigating me. Now it's my turn." So if that's what it's referring to,
that's great.
Because didn't Trump retweet the same thing from Rex? I can't say that word.
Rexuration.
Emperor Rex. That meme is great because that's where we're going. We're in the middle of that now.
Yeah, it's definitely there. We are definitely there. Yeah, President Trump has been very gracious throughout this entire sordid affair. And now we've said this so many times, Methods. The reason it had to be done that way is because now we have the precedent. Okay, like we let you investigate us, we let you investigate President Trump. Now we're going to do the same thing. The tables are turned. The only difference is that there were actual crimes committed on the other side. So this is going to be a very interesting couple of months. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think their timing was perfect. We've got the rest of the summer and then the fall leading into the election. I mean, this is going to be the topic of conversation. Every single scandal that you can possibly imagine, they've already done away with, okay? They used it, they got their ammunition in, and they spent it. It's over. They are done, okay? Now it's going to be a steady couple of months of just incredible information constantly flowing out.
Well, I mean, just to that point before you move on, it's not just about the investigating and the spying and who called it and all that. It's very important, the Obama and then that whole apparatus that was doing that. But you understand, in the kill box is also the media.
Oh, yeah.
We needed this time to happen of them blatantly covering, saying that there's evidence, giving these people platforms to lie.
Yep.
It's also showing, so even if you're looking at a clip of Schiff, because we're talking about the knowingly with him, well, that's him sitting next to a media face from one of these mainstream, dinosaur media stuff, and they're in there agreeing and giving him the opportunity to say it. So that gets, embedded in the memory of the people that are going to wake up through all this stuff coming out.
Right.
So it's that important, because we have to take it down a lot of these things. There's way more tentacles than just the handful or so people that were doing the actual investigating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that post from last night going through, all of these various players, not naming them, but just hinting at them, and like we said before, it's not just in America. I mean, this extends beyond our borders. There are going to be many people who have to answer, and many organizations that have to answer. Let's see. Tree Climbing, thank you again. Coffee Flea, thanks for joining as a member. Son of a Green Card, what's up, brother? Good to see you. He says the Waters clip was bombshell. Yes, it was. Pretty awesome. We had, what was that, a 10-minute delta between President Trump retweeting it and then our favorite Anon putting it out as well. And then Philip says, oh my God, pineapple upside down cheesecake. That sounds very good. And Sumners, thank you for that. Mega MAGA 10 times 10, Patriot Mom, you are amazing. Patriot Mom, thank you very much for being here. Happy Mother's Day. Allie for Truth, what's up, Allie? Thank you for that. Casey Anon, the contact tracing bill in Congress is H.R. 6666. Is that 4 sixes? Yes. I mean, come on, they aren't even hiding it anymore. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's any coincidence with that. I mean, they generally have these bills, they're working on them for a long time. So for them to put it out with that many sixes, it's definitely not a coincidence. Gino says, rumor has it that Michael Vick is scheduled for a future show. Methods will understand. I know about Michael Vick. I'll work on it. I'll tell you what.
I was working in my head on how I could slide that in without it being just awkward and dark. So I appreciate it. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, thanks, Gino. Baby Love 78 says the treason claim of Obama et al. Could be why POTUS kept saying he was a wartime president during the virus scare. I think there's a number of reasons why President Trump would say he's a wartime president. I mean, he's been fighting battles ever since he came into office. And I mean, we're constantly being told that this is irregular warfare. We had people from this last administration that had infiltrated President Trump's administration. You know, think Bolton, think McMaster, people who were actively working against him this entire time. President Trump was working with military precision to outdo them at every turn. This has been an active war this entire time. Denise says Obama will be the first to bring down all the rest. The FBI first will still lead to a bummer. Either way, that works for me. Yeah, I'm comfy with it, which any direction it goes. Marlis, where we go when we go all. Happy Mother's Day. # winning. # karma. Yeah, this is karma coming around to bite him in the butt. Diana Davenport, good to see you. She says they can be tried as enemy combatants in military tribunals. Yes, they can. There is a precedent. Think back to Graham's questions to Kavanaugh in the confirmation hearing. I believe you are totally correct, and thank you for reminding me of that particular bit of testimony. I mean, Methods, I remember when that happened. I mean, we were giddy as schoolgirls. I mean, there's no reason for that to be brought up in the context in which it was, except that I believe that Graham wanted to get that out in the open. You know, hey, there is a precedent for this, reminding people this is what you're doing. You know, this is the game you want to play. Then this is the game we're going to put you in.
Right. It's also shot across the bow because you got to remember that was a little while ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what else were they planning and scheming and all of that stuff? But yeah, man, we've had a lot of exciting moments of things that you can piece the puzzle together, because when these things start to break and we get more and more people, because I'm noticing it on Twitter, everywhere else, there's people waking up, and I always love it when they admit they're new and they ask the question, and then I see, because I can't get to every notification,
right,
even if I tried, to see other people help them. It's cool to watch that moment, you know, in my notification, so it's really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be very important with all these things, because the enemy combatant stuff, it plays into this, because we're talking about our elections.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about, and then messing with the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm so grateful that the narrative right after these transcripts came out is, you know, the last president was involved in this, and the narrative of what they were trying to do with it, how they've tried to hold, you know, Trump's first term hostage, all of that. Like, that to me is very important and lets me know where they're going with this, because if that's where we're starting in the season now that we're getting into, then there's a lot more, and we're going to see, and I'm convinced we're going to see a lot more stuff that we didn't even know about.
Oh, totally.
That's going to come out, that's even going to make me and you freak out, like, oh, that happened, and then we're going to be able to have that evidence as well. So, and to me, and I also just want to make this point real quick, because we're during the season now, and I get comments on my tweets, because I'll go back and I'll find things that like Obama or somebody else said, and it's kind of giving you like, this is what the doublespeak meant, or they were actually, you know, doxing what they were doing at that time. It was just covered in like, you know, smooth words. You know, we put out these clips. Sometimes it's just reminders, but also it's for that new person that's lurking around.
Right.
I just call it a blue check. I won't say who, and this isn't a pat on the back to me, but a blue check, famous, or I'd say famous probably in that world, WWE wrestler, started following my work on Twitter. You know, you never know who's playing. If I hadn't gone and looked at my new followers, I would have never caught it.
Right.
But the fact that we're seeing new eyes all the time paying attention to our work, you don't know if that moment right there, we just red pilled the next Red Pill 78 or the next methods,
Exactly.
or the next insert name here that you look to for information. So I will always cover new stuff, especially if I've never covered the clip before or the information before, because you don't know, because you're putting it back into the public consciousness. So we got to take care of people at all levels, assuming that everybody's either new or hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I mean, and it's definitely the way that we carry ourselves on this show and out in public. Because, I mean, you have to. Like last night, this is a great example. Last night, I asked a question to my guest, and I wanted, to get to the point that the corruption is endemic due to the amount of money that's available. Okay, money is a really easy way to pollute somebody and get them to do awful things. And somebody in the comment section said, "Are you dense? Of course it's about the money." I said, "Well, I don't know who's listening. Not everybody is as enlightened as you. We've got people who might be here for the first time and who need to hear it. I mean, besides the fact that it helps me, paint a picture in the interview. I want the person involved to get to the point. And I mean, it's very possible that somebody could be seeing one of our shows for the very first time. Maybe they got to it because somebody emailed them the video, a friend texted it to them. They, maybe, God forbid, they get a notification from the platform, or they got it recommended. But I don't ever want to think or tell myself and carry this show as if everyone has all the answers, because I think that all of us have the opportunity to learn something new on a regular basis. And so just don't forget, not everybody is as far along as, perhaps myself and, everybody watching the show.
Hey, two quick points real quick. One, we've got a birthday shout out to AK in the chat. It's apparently their birthday, so happy birthday to you. Thank you for spending your evening on your birthday with us. We're excited about that. And I'm also seeing a lot of talk in the chat, and I want to put this out there as true because I haven't seen it, that apparently Barr just told Obama not to leave the country.
What?
So if anybody can, DM me on Twitter with the information. I've already seen messages blow up, so I'm going to find it. I don't like leading people the wrong way. I mean, I love our chat, but I mean, if it's not true, I'd hate to do that.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. I'd like to know about that. And happy birthday, AK. Thanks for being here. So let's see. Miss Sue says, is Red Pill 78 Mom going to tell us a story? Going to come on and tell us a story? Yes, she's going to be here in the second half of the show. She's probably going to end up telling some stories. I don't know how many more stories she has about me that we haven't already disclosed, but I know Methods is going to have some questions for her. I'm going to have some questions for her too. You guys are welcome to ask questions in the chat as well, and we'll get to as many as we can. Redeemed Patriot says, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Obama is all about that damn flag. That's right. Philip says, Tom Fitton live show on Friday said it's much worse than the conspiracy of our favorite Anon. He also said that Trump needs something other than the FBI and DOJ for justice, which would be military tribunals. Good stuff. Banshees Bane says, have you heard anything about Michelle saying that their children were a burden? That sounds like a quote that is familiar. I don't know that if it was her children or just children in general, but that sounds familiar to me. Red Pills Warhawk says, you were just given an Indian name, Dancing with Dogs. The chat is killing me. I'm good with that. I'll get a tattoo that says Dancing with Dogs. Let's see. Baby Yoda, what's up, buddy? He said, love-and-ish to all. Daddy Crab, thank you, RP and Methods. CCEMTP5404 says, can you investigate why anybody who is diagnosed with past Rona are disqualified from joining the military? Source Military Times. I will certainly look into that. That's the first time I've heard that. Patriot 101 says, now is more important than ever that we pray and meditate for the most positive outcome. I completely agree. Crypto Beatles, what's up, buddy? So many people being exposed. It's an amazing time. On my Twitter at Robert Beatles, I posted a link to impeach Gavin, the California governor. Would be great to see that happen. California and the country world don't need 2 more years of him. Where we go one, we go all. God bless all of you. Good to see you, brother, and absolutely correct. Daddy Crab says the shot heard will set the table. It will be loud. I do agree. And Baby Yoda says, been broke AF for a long time. Still, Baby Yoda, I think you're missing keys on your keyboard. Still a new NG to urge others to continue. I truly love all. Baby Yoda, we love you too. And don't ever feel that you can't participate if you can't afford to donate, brother. Everybody is in the same boat. I'm just glad that you guys are here with us. Now, before I get to these next super chats that just came up, we're on the subject of Obama, all right? And today at 3:11 p.m., President Trump put out the tweet, which was, could be considered the shot heard around the world. He tweeted out Obamagate. Now, this is an incredible thing because not only did President Trump do this, but we actually had a request from Ananon prior to this coming out. Here, this is post 4199, but this original post right here says, asking for our favorite Anon to have our POTUS put out an Obamagate tweet. And then quite literally 2 hours later, he did. Right now, it's trending with 639,000 tweets on Twitter, you guys. That's a big number for any trending hashtag for it to be that high. And especially considering the fact that it's a hashtag that is not flattering for the former president. I'm really surprised that they haven't already stifled it and stopped it in its tracks. I mean, we see that all the time where hashtags are definitely shut down. But I mean, this to me is a major step forward in the public awakening. All right. I mean, like we said before, we all know what's going on. But now your average normie is going to go on Twitter and they're going to say, what, Obamagate, and just as a point of reference here. The left is trying to get Trumpgate to trend. It's only got 21,000 tweets. 21,000 to 639,000. Methods, this is a huge development.
Right, and it shows the power of the MAGA movement, this movement that we're involved in, especially getting these things going. And this is a great point to bring up. We've got 4,500 people hanging out with us here. We really appreciate it. I enjoy these 2-hour shows. We get a little bit more time to hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
If you guys don't mind clicking that like button, but also if you don't mind sharing this out there on your favorite social media platforms that you use, we're still got a lot of time left on the show. Add the hashtag Obamagate. Let's keep that number going up on that stuff. We'd really appreciate it. We like to let people know that we're doing this show. And also want to thank everybody who's shown up in my PayPal account. I really appreciate it. And I thank the mods for sharing it. And I thank Red Pill for putting it in the bio below.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as always, thank you for being here. I appreciate your help in this. And I respect you immensely. So to be able to work with someone that, that I have such a good relationship with and that I actually respect at this level, man, it's a blessing. It's really a blessing. So
real quick, Ursula 1111 in our chat just said both my kids texted me and asked, Mom, what is Obamagate?
Yeah.
No, that's it. This is how this works. So that's exciting times.
So good. All right. So I wanted to show Enoch's tweet here. Enoch is a good friend of ours. And he says, Trump tweets Obamagate at 3:11 p.m. Then we get post number 311. What was the U.S. Secret Service code name for Hussein? They knew all along. Do you believe in coincidence? That is an incredible coincidence there. But I think, of course, we know that it's not. So President Trump tweeting it at 3:11 was no coincidence. But the fact that we've got the post from our favorite Anon, we've got the at you post from an Anon asking for this to happen. I mean, this is just an example of how clearly coordinated this stuff is.
And real quick, I just had our buddy TikTok, great friend of the channel. Glad you're listening, bud. He just sent me like 2 or 3 links and screen caps of the whole did Barr tell Obama? And all he was able to find was that rumors are saying in screen caps. Okay. And they're asking media people, is this true? So I don't know if this is an echo chamber thing or not, but TikTok's one of those ones that can find things rather quickly when it's stuff like that. So as of now, it's just, water cooler talk.
Okay. And then I saw somebody in the chat say, why is Trumpgate trending? Well, it's like a counter move. Okay. They're trying to get enough people to tweet out Trumpgate to overtake the Obamagate tweets, but that's just not going to happen. If anybody here is on Twitter, I urge you to go retweet and share any Obamagate tweets. Like, for example, we've got Method's Obamagate tweet here with an incredible meme. I don't know who made this, dude, but that is sweet looking. And then I made a video. This is something new I'm trying, guys. I'm doing just little quick segments. Instead of just putting it in words, I'm throwing the videos up on Twitter. So, get out there and share these Obamagate tweets, because it's not about sharing our stuff. It's about sharing this hashtag and amplifying this across the world. I saw somebody in the chat say that it is trending around the world. It's not just the United States.
Yeah, we're making the noise that needs to happen. Now ask yourself, why did this movement need to be created? How big would that number be if this movement wasn't created? Yeah. I know that we've had a lot of, and I know when I say that, I get a lot of comments about, well, there was truthers before this covering things, all the way back to, the FFs back in the days and stuff. And, hat tip to y'all, the veterans that have been doing this for a while. I just am referring to how big this movement is at the moment and how big we've watched it grow since day one when we got started. So we're referring, I guess, this era, right? The Trump era movement of this stuff, basically. But no, I mean, shout out to the people that have been red pilling us for years and decades, whether it be on YouTube's or, articles, your blogs and stuff, because y'all helped pave the way for this to be a thing. And we just, shout out to you guys. It's been great to follow all of you. Yeah.
What's great about it now is that I felt like we have a cohesive unity now, more than we ever did, the truth movement ever did previously. People would have their niche areas, like I'm interested in, this specific event or, this subject. And now, as a result of what's happened over the last couple of years, a lot of people are realizing that each one of those specific things are all part of the same interconnected web. It's always been the same group. It's always been the same bad actors. And now we're at the point where we're about to unseat them. The global awakening has happened. People understand now more than at any time in the past, and we truly have the power to be louder than the mainstream media. That's always been the tough thing, is that they had the ability to amplify themselves. And now, because we're all connected and we're all speaking with a unified voice, it is an even easier thing for us to amplify each other, and we should definitely help out. I went through and I retweeted as many Obamagate tweets as I possibly could before the show. Let me say, CJ says, some are way too critical. We are lucky you work so hard to bring us the news and the commentary. Well, thank you. Yeah, this is a big deal for me, and I try to bring my own unique worldview and my perspective. I'm a fairly positive person. I've had some dark times, but this is me. Okay, and I see what's happening in the world, and I can tell that there are major movements taking place, and we're so close. We are so close, and it's an incredible feeling. And I know that it's difficult for some people. Some of those old timers, you guys have been around a long time. I've been in the truth movement for a long time. Just on my own. And, it's a different situation today than it ever was before. It's a wonderful thing. EO2 Dave says the Bill Barr Obama thing warning was taken down in minutes. Methods saw it too, but I can't find it now. Rhonda Hatfield, thank you for that. Nurse on 101 says, Red Pill and Methods, I love you guys. Where we go one, we go all. Thanks for all you do. Glenn says we should include Obarnagate too. The only reason I would say not to include Obarnagate is because I feel like it would muddy the water. Because we've got Obamagate going so successfully, I think we need to stick with that. But there's no reason you can't put Obarnagate in there as well.
Yeah, I added with mine the Renegade, just because it's just changing a letter. Yeah. I think it's pretty creative. I can't take credit for it. I saw it somewhere else. I think it was on the boards. But yeah, no, definitely, if that's the trending one, definitely be doing Obamagate, because that's what's waking people up because they get curious.
Yeah. Let's see. Thank you, Glenn. Rhonda Hatfield says, if Michael doesn't like being a mother, he could give the girls back to their real parents. Burn. That's absolutely true. Into Bushes 827, hashtag Obamagate. They can't stop us. No, they can't stop us, guys. This is too big now. This movement has grown too large. Watchman 117, Fox News' Shannon Bream has said to expect some booms this week. Do you guys have any idea what might be coming? P.S. Love the dogs. Well, they love being here with you guys, too. I'm expecting additional booms specifically to arise out of that second tranche of documents that acting ODNI Rick Grinnell delivered the other day. Beyond that, I mean, there are so many different things that it could be. Are we going to get more revelations about Obama? That's very possible too. I mean, I honestly think that the sky is wide open. There are so many things that could possibly happen. Methods, are you tracking anything that you think could be erupting here in this next week?
Well, I'm paying attention to what's been coming out, and I know there's a few articles that we wanted to touch on. I don't know if we're going to be doing that during having your mom on here, if we just want to get to it real quick. But when I see things like this, I'm expecting puzzle pieces because we need to create the puzzle, put it together so it's easily understood and visible to other people who are brand new or didn't expect this or whatever. It's just more puzzle pieces that we need. But yeah, I'm like you, man. It could be anything. There's so many different avenues. There's a lot of artillery on our side when it comes to information dropping.
Yeah, I mean, now that General Flynn has effectively been exonerated, I mean, he could come out and do an interview now. I mean, like there's nothing precluding him from being able to do that.
She said, Sydney said that, I don't mean to cut you off. Sydney Powell said this morning, I think on Sunday Morning Futures, that she expects for him to make a public statement soon.
Good.
Obviously, it's not in his control, but she's saying that she's confident that he will soon, and that's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Let's see. Baby Yoda says, I love you, not gay. Methods, good man, word to mom. Even if you were Baby Yoda, you could still hang out with us. Love you too, brother. The Punisher says, Barry wants to go to Gitmo so he can drop the soap as much as he wants. I can't think of a single positive thing, I guess, other than that, for them going to Gitmo. Evil Dust Bunny says, Twitter has suppressed Obamagate to number 3. They put hashtag MTB and Disney sing-along above it. I posted a screenshot. I'll have to look for that. On my screen, it's still at the top of the page. You know, I mean, even the order that they have it on my screen, it's not the actual numbered order for what is the biggest thing. I've just refreshed it. It's still up at the top, and it says 669,000 now. 669,000. That's incredible. Baby Yoda says, continued. Word to all moms. Word to your mother. That's right. Domdar says, Trump can bring down everything just by saying, show me. Lost audio here for a second. Okay, I think it's come back on. But yes, saying it doesn't exist. Trump is dragging things out unnecessarily. I think this gets back to the point that sometimes you can't just tell people, you have to show them. And there are a lot of moving pieces in play. I believe that this entire situation has just shown everybody how corrupt everything is, how these different agencies are, the very nature of what's going on. We're going to talk more about the CV-19 portion of this later in the show, but there's a couple of big things that have just happened here recently. So I think that it was necessary for it to happen this way. Son of a Green Card says, can we start calling Grinnell Sacomatic Boondock Saints for the reference? I haven't seen Boondock Saints in a long time, but I remember that. Paul Marshall says, there will never be an aircraft carrier named the Obama. Wonderful point, Paul Marshall. You're totally right. Eric Aloha says, check out Kirsten W. YouTube interview George Nassif. That's interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out. All right, so moving on to the next topic, right before we bring my mom in. Actually, it's still on the subject of Barry. And actually, Methods, do you mind if I play that phone call real quick? It's just a minute long.
I don't mind, man. Go for it.
Okay, let me put that on. We'll just hear it in the background. Oops. Okay, here we go.
The news over the last 24 hours, I think, has been somewhat downplayed about the Justice Department dropping charges against Michael Flynn. And the fact that there is no precedent that anybody can find for someone who's been charged with perjury. Just getting off scot-free.
That was the point that I wanted to show you guys. Former President Obama saying that there's no precedent for somebody getting off scot-free. Well, we actually have an article from PJ Media. And also, General Flynn was not charged with perjury. He was charged with lying to the FBI, which is a crime that was manufactured. But actually, Barry himself pardoned a former general who lied to the FBI. He actually did lie to the FBI. It was an actual charge that was correct. His name was General Cartwright. He left the government in 2011. There was a leak investigation. Apparently, it had something to do with the New York Times, and he lied to FBI agents when they came to interview him at his home, and he was pardoned by Barry. Now, this was an actual crime, so clearly there is a precedent for people being pardoned or exonerated for crimes that they even did commit. Now, General Flynn didn't actually commit a crime, and what happened in his situation was very different. You had the Department of Justice taking a closer look at the case and actually deciding that based upon the evidence, which was non-existent, that there was no reason to continue to go after General Flynn and carry out this prosecution. It didn't matter that he pled guilty. It didn't matter that he said, I lied to the FBI. All he was doing was trying to protect his family, trying to protect his son. It's a completely different situation, but Barry is obviously very scared. I mean, you can hear it in his voice in that call. There is a precedent. The precedent is clear, and there certainly is a precedent for charges and cases being dropped when there's no evidence to support the prosecution of that individual. Let's see. Punisher says, RPNM3, epic thought, any way you can get CJ Truth on the show. I have actually spoken to CJ Truth about potentially coming on the show. I don't believe anybody has heard his voice yet, so I don't know that he would, but I already let him know he's got an open invitation. I would love to have CJ on. CJ is a great researcher, and he does wonderful work on Twitter. So, CJ, if you're listening, buddy, please consider coming on the show. We'd love to have you. Morning Constitution 17 says, changed my name from Face the Music out of respect for Cue the Music. Let's hope when we rid ourselves of the swamp creatures, we replace it with something good and lasting. All right. Well, Cue the Music or Morning Constitution 17, glad to have you here, bud. Glad to know that's you. Hey, Jude says, my son came home from college last night and finally got to see the Tomahawk in person. He was blown away by the detail and loved it. Awesome. Red Pills Warhawk, good for you, buddy. And hey, Jude, thank you for supporting my friend. I appreciate that. And if you post more pictures like with your son holding the Tomahawk, I will totally share them. Gino says, if Renegade Soetoro gets convicted of treason, is it an automatic capital punishment crime? That is the top punishment. But they could also just give life in prison or some sentence, south of that. But considering the gravity of this crime, it's very possible that it could be, up to and including the number one punishment.
You also have to consider all the other things that his hands were involved in, right? Like I know we haven't gotten to it yet, but the Fast and Furious stuff. I mean, there's other things going on here. I mean, with Biden, Ukraine. I mean, he was the VP, he was the right-hand man of Obama during that situation. So to answer that question, yeah, we're talking about just the spying, but I'm interested and excited to see how much of, quote unquote, the plan or all these revelations that are coming out, how far is this going to happen and what gets exposed. And if you expose one and prove it to be true, it makes the other ones easier to explain. So to me, to answer that point, how many lifetimes can he be charged, right? I mean, if it's just going to be life, then, I mean, but I think we're kind of dancing in the enemy combatant territory on this stuff.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it, so we might as well go into it before Mom gets here, but Mexico's president just called for an investigation into the Fast and Furious operation. Now, this operation and the program did tremendous damage to the country of Mexico. It also, contributed to the loss of American lives, and probably more than we can even, actually count because, probably weapons are never found. You've got people who die in homicides related to drug cases quite often here in America and in Mexico. But Mexico's been devastated. I mean, there's been an open war in the streets with the cartels for years, for decades. I just started watching Narcos Mexico, and it talks about the whole thing. The United States government was involved in the narco trade for years. The clowns in America, and once again, this all goes back to the clowns in America. So if we've got the Mexican president who now has extremely good relations with President Trump in America, asking for an investigation into this Obama-era program, I mean, then that also takes it back to Eric Holder, who is also in the news because he was trashing General Flynn while he was a partner at the law firm that was supposed to be representing him. There are so many different directions that this could go right now, guys. That's why I said, I mean, the sky is wide open. I mean, it could literally be anything that comes up next week.
Yeah, so when people ask me what's going to happen next or how does this play out, I really don't know how to tell you. Because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. Why did Trump make such a big deal out of building that wall when Obama and company were sending guns there? Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, what were we really dealing with? I mean, there's been reports and stuff of us literally training some of their not so military, but military forces back in the day over in Mexico, helping them train. So there's a lot going on with that. And so the fact that Mexico is calling for this, you have to think like it would then be our duty as an ally country to help them with the investigation, right? The same thing with Ukraine. So the fact that we're having other countries calling for this takes a lot of the flack off of off of Trump's shoulders, because if they're like, oh, the poor immigrants, blah blah, all that stuff with the caravans, y'all remember all that stuff, the Mexican people, the people in South America, all that, we need to save them. Well, then fine, okay, they need help because a lot of them people were being killed through that gun running operation, and we're just trying to help them. So now it's one of those things that we're going to be able to do the mirror side by sides when these things flip around. Well,
and also consider the cooperation between the cartel and the Arizona mafia. How much, how far into the United States and the U.S. political system does the influence of the cartel extend? I mean, this could be a major opportunity to end just an incredible amount of corruption, both north and south of the border. It's really an opportunity for us.
And real quick, Fem Trooper, I don't have a backup channel. I have a backup Twitter, which is M3 Madness. It should be pretty easy to remember if you know M2 Madness. I have a YouTube account so I can comment and stuff. But no, you'll always be able to find me around. If I'm chatting here, it'll be on YouTube and you'll see it.
Yeah. Okay, so then Law Dog says, my prosthetic leg popped off skydiving. The person who received a bottom kicking out of the clear blue sky. My bad. Please return said leg. Oh, man. Daddy Crab says, let's not forget crimes against humanity. Yeah, it goes so deep. Hey Jude says, he's very private. He won't allow me to share pictures of him. I totally understand. My mom won't let me share pictures either. Oh, you guys, I actually have a picture of us today. Out, we had to go grocery shopping. I am going to show that picture in just a sec. Baby Yoda says, hey, truly appreciate you all like a poodle in your leg. Lots of love. Substitute poodle for cat and shoulders. I don't know if I can get a poodle to stay up there. Are you handy? Thank you for that. And Baby Love 78 says, this is how POTUS gets Mexico to pay for the wall. It very well could be.
Right.
All right, you guys, I'm going to just pop that up here real quick because I'm gonna bring up the photo of my mom and I today at the grocery store so you can see what 2020 life is all about right now. Let me see. Let me just get this pulled up. And once again, guys, we've got just over 5,000 people watching, 2.2 thousand likes. We would so appreciate it if you would consider liking this show, helping us get this information out by sharing it. It is a big help. All right. And let's see, here is the photo of my mom and I at the grocery store. There we go. There we are. That's Real Red Pill Mom. This is what life in 2020 is like. Real Red Pill Girlfriend sent me this amazing meme, which it was a chihuahua with big eyes, and it says, me in 10 years, and grocery store clerk says your bill is 2020, and then all of a sudden all you're thinking about is murder hornets and, the virus and toilet paper shortages, and we're all going to have PTSD from this time if we don't help each other get over it. All right, so we're going to be bringing in Real Red Pill Mom, you guys. Please join me in welcoming my mother and one of the foremost influencers in my life and my red pilling. I call myself Red Pill 78 because it's a joke that I've been red pilled since birth, and it is only because of my mother that that's the case. Mom, welcome to the show.
Hi. Oh, that was sweet. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. So, Mom, do you like the show so far? You having a good time?
Yeah, I'm having a real good time. And you know what? Before I forget about it, I want to I want to clear up a controversy or controversy, if you will, relative to the word bean, bin, ben. So let's get this over with.
I love it.
You know, when you were
swinging.
Little, no, because I've been thinking about this, and you know, I hate it. Anybody that criticizes you in the chat,
Sure.
bye. We're done here. So, because this is not a democracy, by the way, the chat. We'll get into the mod thing in a minute.
The mods are
But anyway.
dictators.
That's right. Anyway, we had this big nursery rhyme book. I don't know if you remember it, but it was huge, and we'd read it every day. Well, a nursery rhyme, hello, by the very word, it has to rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the rhymes was, "Pussycat, pussycat, where have you been?
Oh my gosh.
I've been to London to look at the Queen." Right?
Yeah.
You can't say Ben, Queen. It doesn't work that way. Do you say teenager or teenager?
Yeah.
You know, we had send that or we had seen that. I'm sorry. You can pronounce it bean. And you know,
you're right.
Anytime that I read to you, you know, I went full on with the accents and the story and the high drama. So that's how it is. So you want to blame anybody about him pronouncing bean? Blame me.
You're totally right. I remember it now that you say it. And you're dead on. I mean, that would definitely be it. I remember reading that quite a bit as a child. And she's right.
That's
when we would read, you know, novels and books and stuff when I was a kid, and she would always do voices. And, you know, I mean, we've both done a bit of voiceover stuff. And so there's a bit of theatrics there. And I think,
just a touch.
Yeah. So I think that that's where it comes from. So definitely my mom has been a incredible influence on me throughout my entire life. Yeah.
Ever since we were a teen, that we've seen.
But yeah, pussycat, where have you been? I remember that now. That's great. Well, Mom, you had a whole bunch of people in the chat saying hello. Kevin Kavanaugh says George Soros or Obama must be behind in the show. And the Punisher says, hi, Red Pill Mom. So
hi, Punisher.
So, Mom, I guess, well, I mean, you brought up the idea of modding. Tell me, what is it like to be a mod on your son's YouTube channel?
You know, when it's Friday night and it's midnight before we're done,
mm-hmm.
I can't sleep. My head is just buzzing. It is not an easy job, let me tell you. And I appreciate every person who is a mod in the chat. And we don't know each other personally, but we are like, you know, all for one and one for all.
Mm-hmm.
Mods have to back each other up. And here's the deal, friends. YouTube is the one that holds some of your comments.
Mm-hmm.
Because even YouTube is smart enough to know that you're putting in $$ as an S. and they know if you're cursing. And in the beginning, it says, you know, that there are guidelines for the chat. So nobody reads that. Of course not.
No.
I've never read it. But the guidelines are this: no cursing, no horrible imagery, nothing violent, and don't insult our guests. You know, it's easy. But I will say this: I want to add one thing, because I saw this happened earlier. One person said, well, there's a rumor going around that Barr said that Obama shouldn't leave the country.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little bit later, somebody said, Barr said Obama's not to leave the country. And then a little bit more rolled by, and somebody capitalized the whole thing, shouting it, you know, like the town crier. And is it true? Is it not? We don't know. And if you can't source something, then say it's a rumor.
Sure.
Or say, IMO, in my opinion. But don't set it out there as fact. if you can't source it. So, yeah, I mean, that's just, in my opinion, that's
Sure.
the way that we should conduct this.
No,
And that's why sometimes people get hidden. Yeah.
right. No, Red Pill and I both totally agree with you on that. We preach that quite often on this channel as far as not being able to sauce things. Well, I do want to ask this question, if you don't mind, Red Pill, on this. Ann Baker in the chat is asking your mother, tell us how you were first red pilled. So I'd like to ask you, Mama 78, how were you first red pilled?
Okay. This is going to be a long story. Because my whole life I was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. And that's because of President Kennedy. When I was, what was I? It was the day before my eighth birthday. The day before my 8th birthday is when he was elected. And I can't imagine right now being an 8-year-old and being into politics. But I was lying on the living room floor, watching the returns, praying my rosary. Please, God, let this man get elected. I don't know why I knew it was so important, but I knew it was important. And so ever since then, I've just been, politically aware. But I was always on, the Dem side. I was always a liberal. And I mean, and somebody just handed it to me. It wasn't like I went searching for it, but I went to Clinton's first inauguration. That's where I first came in contact with Roseanne Barr, who was born 6 days before me. So it was, it was a fun ride. But then I realized that I'm kind of just going, oh, are we supposed to believe that? Oh, is that a good guy? Oh, is that not a good guy? And I was just going by what everyone was telling me. It was like, a whole crowd just swaying in one direction and then swaying in another direction. So when President Trump was running, I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. Oh, there's no way that he's going to win. That can't happen. And because I personally didn't know anybody that was voting for him, except I kind of suspected my son was leaning that way. I would tell people, I think he's going to vote for Trump. I don't know. And it was very worrisome. And
was he going to be invited to Christmas or not? Was that on the table?
Oh, of course, because there wasn't this chasm at that point. It was just, some people are, some people aren't. But anyway, so the day after he was elected, I was practically in tears. And I went to him and I said, what are we going to do? And he said, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. I'm like, he definitely voted for him. So then I just started to look because, I love my son and I didn't think he was deplorable. And my brothers, I know they voted for him. I don't think they're deplorable. So I just started to, kind of watch. And the thing that I would listen like to Jimmy Dore or to George Webb, and everybody would say, now I'm no fan of Trump, but, and then they'd say something that was, sort of not fair. But the thing that I think, really tilted my perspective was when he was in Japan and he and the Prime Minister of Japan, were feeding the koi fish. They were standing at the pond. And so the Prime Minister threw in some seed, and then it cuts to the president, and he just dumps the whole box in the koi pond. And it just made him look like, so crude and such a fool. And then I saw the total video. And it was that the Prime Minister put some koi food in, and so the president did. They did that a couple times. Then the Prime Minister dumped his box. Hi, Muffin. Dumped his box of food, and then Trump dumped his box of food.
Oh, absolutely. And
like,
I know
wow.
Everybody in the chat just freaked out because they heard dogs barking, and so no, definitely, like you could see how the media spun things, right? The same thing when they said Trump wanted to put alligators in a moat down at the border, and they pushed that
Yeah.
story when it was complete nonsense. So you start waking up to those things, right?
And that's it. And this is kind of my point, a long way around to get to it, is that when I'm here and I'm in this chat and I'm talking to you guys, I feel like, okay, there's sanity here. Everybody gets it. Everybody understands. But when I go out in the world, I don't see that. I'm in a blue area and I don't see that. And you just can't badger somebody with the truth. You can't force feed enlightenment. They have to come to it themselves. And same thing with me. Once I came to that, once I got to that turning point, it's like, well, then what else have they been saying to me that is untrue? What else have they been showing me where they're trying to manipulate me? And I don't like being manipulated. So that something rose up in me. It wasn't that anything came at me from the outside, but I knew who I could go to talk about it. I knew who I could talk to and say, well, what other channels do you listen to? And then I could start to see it. And it always starts out like, you see something that's not fair, and you couch what you say. Well, I'm no fan of Trump, but, and then it leads to, yeah, I am going to vote for him. And that pattern I can see happening. So, I don't know. I guess I have to be more verbal about it with more people, but they're just so angry. They're so, I don't know. I hope I was never like that. I don't think I was.
I wouldn't say you ever were, Mom. I mean, even when, we were talking about I was trying to tell you all the good things about President Trump. I mean, it was, I could see something in your head. There's a cognitive dissonance. You're thinking to yourself, well, gosh, I mean, if this is true, then how can the characterization of him in the media be true? And you've got to, kind of work around that. And the only thing that's difficult is, if you've got people who only listen to the mainstream media and are only willing to kind of, take that one thought track, that's when they don't want to listen to, all of these positive things. I find it just fascinating that people can look at the state of the country. They look at their jobs, the success that people are having. The stability that we've had. Peace in the Korean Peninsula, and they can still tell themselves that President Trump is the person that they portray him to be on CNN or MSNBC. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, I had a client not too long ago who was telling me that she went on a cruise in England. So they were going like around the island. And she said, and then there were these Trumpers that were on there, so many Trumpers. And I said, oh, were they like mean to you? Were they negative to you? No. Oh, it was just okay then. Well, yeah, but you can tell because they'll cut you off really quickly. Like they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to go there if you're taking the conversation in a different direction. It's like, no, I'm not going to jump in there with you and be negative and be angry. I don't want to do that. So it's, I don't know. I am thinking that sometimes it's like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. And these orcs they're relentless. And they won't give up, and they keep battling. Like even today, hearing about how they're trying to spin the General Flynn thing. That, Adam Schiff, of course, that idiot, but he's saying that that doesn't mean he's exonerated. And then Brennan coming in and just this diatribe that he's putting out there. It's like, can't you people ever just stop for 1 minute? They are relentless. They don't give up, and we can't pause. We pause for about a minute with our happiness over General Flynn, but it's like, well, get right back to work again, because they're not going to give you a moment to celebrate.
Well, a few things here. First off, we got 4,800 people hanging out. If you guys don't mind clicking that like button, that'd be great. Also, Red Pill, your mother making a successful Lord of the Rings reference and all this is awesome. So shout out to you, Mama, for that. And you're right about that. You're absolutely right, because like how you said, how you had to find people to get to the truth when you started noticing things were wrong. That's what's, to me, this is that the great divide that gets talked about. And I know it's terrible because we're all kind of like choosing sides, but we're kind of being forced to that. You're fine. You don't like the aggressiveness, the anger, the resentment that's showing from, I guess we would just say, the other side. So you found your way to people that are more compassionate and all that. And we want that for everybody, including the ones on the other side. But the fact that you found your way over here, that's more of a testament of what this movement's trying to be. You know, this is the biggest, I didn't think that there was this many compassionate, caring people in the world at all that I even get to interact with on Twitter, then alone, you know, bigger than we can imagine. So having this movement, it's helping build these connections that we're going to have for a lifetime.
Well, people are gaining their humanity back. I think that I've thought for years that what the internet does to us, you know, this social media culture and this culture of, you know, needing instant gratification or, you know, instant validation, it's driven people farther apart because you're constantly in touch with people, but you're not really touching them. You know, you're missing that emotional connection, and I felt like people were being isolated, and it wasn't good for our soul. You know, for our mental health. People are you know, I mean, Twitter. I mean, I always say, be kind to people on Twitter, be nice on social media, because you never know who you're going to meet in real life, and like feeding into that nastiness that people have on social media, it can start to seep out into real life. I want people to remember these, you know, these tender moments like this, because I mean, each one of us is an actual person. It's not just an avatar. It's not just a screen name. Just real quick, let me do a couple of quick thank yous. Baby Love 78 said, Ben Bean is regional, like saying pop in the Midwest. Yeah, absolutely. Todd Evans says, break out the embarrassing baby RP78 pictures. Maybe on a different episode. I don't have any prepared. Redeemed Patriot says, yes, ma'am. John Fuller, thank you for joining as a member. Ozdog says, I just saw on MySpace, someone on YouTube said Barr told Obama.
Nailed it.
Yep. Baby Yoda says, oh, I'm so touched by the love of a mother. Floriccio says, my heart hurts when I see mothers arrested with their children watching and crying. We need arrests ASAP to stop HR 6666. Madness. NYC is so scary now. Democrats, demon rats are pure evil, and they think they are above the law. I absolutely agree with you there, and it's very true. I mean, we really do need to get back to having an equal system of justice here in the United States, and these upcoming arrests are going to restore that, I believe. Let's see. Also, the Punisher says, Red Pill Mom to replace Pelosi. Yeah, maybe you can move to California, Mom. And
she's way more coherent. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Sandra Carroll, supporting your work supports us all. Buy chlorophyll now to prep for the challenges we may experience circa 511 to 514 per Mike from around the world. Are the Pences really black hats? This is a good question for you, Mom. I don't know. You know, I mean, I've said that the jury's out for me on Mike Pence. What do you think about Mike Pence, Mom? Do you think he's a white hat, a black hat, a gray hat? I mean, what's your read on him?
Well, my read isn't anything that is logical. It's just kind of intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of skeeves me out. Yeah,
what is it
what
about
else can I say? It's the eyes.
Okay, I've seen people say that before.
Yeah, and I shouldn't judge people by how they look, but you know, the eyes are the windows to the soul. So you get a sense. I don't know. That's just the sense I get, but I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong.
That's the thing. You know, I mean, we're all judging Mike Pence by what somebody has said about him on YouTube, or, you know, I mean, none of us know him personally. I mean, I don't live in Indiana. I never had the opportunity to, you know, be in his state when he was governing. So I really don't have anything to judge it by. But what I do see is President Trump praising him, President Trump trusting him with certain things. At the very least, I trust him because the president seems to trust him. But I don't know what's in his heart. I don't know what's in his soul.
No, well, we have Kevin Rowley in the chat saying he's an alien ambassador. So there's that. But I mean, just to put my 2 cents on it here, I only see what people talk about him, and so I go look for the sauce on it, and it's allegations. It's the same kind of thing like what your mother brought up about Barr telling Obama not to leave the country. That becomes that echo chamber conversation. So I still haven't seen anything out of him just yet that makes me believe otherwise. Now, does he kind of creep me out with those eyes and stuff like your mom's talking about here? Absolutely. But it doesn't change things for me as far as his hat is 100% black.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that's the thing. I don't know Mike Pence, so I reserve judgment. He doesn't creep me out personally. I mean, but that's just me. Everybody, you get feelings about people. It's just how it is.
Okay, but think about it this way. If, let's say we're going to flip a coin and heads is Pence is out and there's going to be a new VP running, and tails is Pence is in. If that coin lands on heads, I'm going to go, oh, okay.
I think I think that there's there's always a possibility that President Trump could replace him with somebody else. I mean, I'm anxiously awaiting Mike Pence to return to the administration. I think a lot of people would be very happy.
You mean Flynn, right?
General Flynn. Sorry, General Flynn.
Yeah.
If General Flynn came in as the new VP pick, I think that would be a great move.
Oh, would love that.
I would love Flynn running 24, 28.
Yeah.
Like, just go ahead and just do it. But here we are.
Somebody just said, but the Pence has got an envelope. That's an excellent point. I mean, I made a video about that. But, here's the thing is we don't know what was in those envelopes. And could it be that the Pences got an envelope to make it look to everybody else that got an envelope, that the Pences could be trusted by them? I mean, that's something that I've considered myself. Anybody?
I don't know. It's a riddle wrapped in an enigma inside a Twinkie.
Yeah,
nailed it. That's exactly. Yeah, we could speculate all day.
Yeah,
but those envelopes, it could have just. Then I can make the argument that Pence got the envelope just to make it look like it wasn't a one-sided envelope giveaway.
Right.
So we don't know. But running with these things, it becomes. That's why, like Red Pill and I, really try not to cover too much speculation, because it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, it's how dare you not cover this thing that you've been against the whole time. You know what I mean? So we try to keep it at least, sauce related.
Right. Let's see. Punisher, thank you again. Sandra, thank you again. Ryan McAdam says, RP Mom kicked out of the chat one time for saying the F word last time I did. She is the boss. God bless you.
Learned your lesson, didn't you, bud?
Yeah, never again. Nurse Grandma 03 says, you are blessed to have such a great mom. Yes, I am. Baby Yoda says, I'm touched by the love of a mother. This is a better money share. Thank you very much, Baby Yoda. Tree Climbing says, we are sane and we do care. Yeah, very much so. The people on the other side are too wrapped up in whatever the narrative is. I mean, we're moving towards an actual goal. I mean, we're working on the betterment of our country. We're working on our freedom. We're working on restoring justice here in America. It's not just about getting rid of somebody because we hate them. Stephanie Oostvan says, hashtag Obamagate trending at 748,000. I've got it at 762,000 now.
That's crazy. Over 750,000 hashtag tweets. That's so great. Keep going. Hashtag Obamagate. And while he's taking care of the cat, click that like button for us, guys. That's really helping us out. We're at 3,000. That's pretty great.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Let's see. Jason B says, Red Pill Mom is right. You can't badger with the truth. I had Trump derangement syndrome and was red pilled by my own research. My brother helped. I've been badgering my dad and he just won't get it. You can't force it. I learned. It's always going to be in the perfect timing and in the amount of time that it takes for you to come to that realization. You can't force anybody into this stuff. And another great mother, the second most important mother in my life, Real Red Pill Girlfriend, she says, happy Mother's Day. Thank you for raising the greatest man I've ever known. Thank you, baby. I love you.
Adorable.
That is so sweet. And I love you too, sweetie. But I have to tell you, it's not, everybody's like praising me for raising you, and it's not hard to do something that's not hard. You know, it's not hard to raise a good person when they're a good person to begin with.
Thanks, Mom. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I've just always liked you. I've always told you that.
what if she didn't? This would be an entirely different conversation.
Yeah. You're like, why did you do that?
No, I mean, I've always said to you, if we weren't mother and son, I would still like you anyway. I would want to be your friend. I would want to hang out with you.
Totally. I love you. Kevin Kavanaugh says, check Gateway Pundit latest post on SR and Wiki. We are definitely going to be talking about that. Red Pills Warhawk says, bro, your mom is still slapping trolls while being interviewed like a boss.
Yeah. No, see, now, can you guys tell if it's me that, does the... Oh, see, I didn't know that. You knew it was me. I thought it would just retract. No, because I've seen like on Edge of Wonder, I'll see just somebody's comment will just be gone, and it doesn't say, you know, this particular mod did this.
No, we can see it as mods and running this channel.
Yeah, and because I got the chat on the screen.
Oh, that too.
But it sounds like everybody can, because I have been.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not doing anything except like hiding or showing things.
Okay.
Because again, say it without cursing. Say it without violent imagery.
It's not too much of an ask, you know.
That's why it happens.
Right. We try to stay away from it on this channel. You know, people talk how they talk. I mean, down here in the South, you know, we definitely have the way that we talk about things that can't be exactly aired on these kind of channels. But hey, guys, Mom's got a mom, and Red Pill Mom is the guest of honor here. If she wants to sit here and just snipe cuss words, go for it.
Hey Jude says, worst tweet of the day, Planned Parenthood wishing a happy Mother's Day. Oof. That's a bad one. Gloria
yeah,
right?
That is bad.
Irony's lost. Gloria Paddock says, love you, Mama RP. I think we're the same age, forever young. There you go. Cool stuff. Cue the music says, Red Pill Mom, your take on Italian or Italian? What do you say there, Ma? Is that tomato?
I'm sorry. I was reading Atomic 419's post. What did you say?
Your take on Italian versus Italian? How would you say it?
Well, I used to go out with an Italian guy that I only call to certain people the Italian. So it's Italian.
The Italian. Okay. Cue the music. Thank you again. Baby Yoda says, please say I'm your Huckleberry. Tombstone is one of my favorite movies. I
love Tombstone.
Doc, he says, I'm your Huckleberry.
I'm your Huckleberry.
There you go.
I'm your Huckleberry. Okay. Well, listen, we wanted to... go ahead.
Before you move on, I have at least one question I have to ask.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Because we do have your mother available, and I know that, like, I didn't want to put her on the spot necessarily, say give us some childhood, you know, dirt on Red Pill. By all means, you have the rest of the show to say it if you want to.
But you don't want me to go there.
No, right? Okay. But with that said, the biggest question I think that we can ask, you know, for the entire audience is: did y'all ever try to get Red Pill into playing sports, like at all, growing up?
Okay. It was clear that was not going to happen. His dad was not a sports person.
He watched sports.
He was the coach of a woman's softball team.
Oh,
that's how close he got to that. But he watched sports a lot.
Did he? But at like what age are we talking here? Because
my dad watched sports.
Oh, no, the dad.
Oh, okay.
And so then, you know, so the thought was, well, maybe he'll gravitate to that. But I was never into like making my kids do something that they didn't want to do. He was on a soccer team in grade school. And so my vivid memory from that is that he had a long sleeve shirt on and then the soccer t-shirt over the top of it. And it was kind of chilly. And he was, I don't know, maybe he was a goalie or somewhere in that vicinity. And so the team is coming down the field toward him. He's taken his arms out of the sleeves so that the sleeves are empty. The long sleeves are empty, hanging there at his side. And he's kind of swinging back and forth because it's cold. And I'm like, okay, he has no desire to do this. So if he doesn't want to come back, I'm not going to force him. And he didn't want to.
I did play basketball too, though. I mean, I can't shoot for...
Then that
Yeah.
was a hot minute because I don't remember it.
Yeah.
She doesn't even remember how great you
No.
were at basketball.
No.
Red Pill.
But
I was
there were
bad.
plenty of things I don't remember. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was not a good sports ball player. Aces High
He's
says,
more intellectual.
yes, yeah, more intellectual. Aces High says, lost my mother at 8. Folks, be thankful for your mothers. Was blessed to have an awesome red-pilled grandmother who was an angel. Lost her a month ago. Take your wonderful mother out to eat one of these days, brother. Absolutely. We made dinner this evening. I'm so sorry about your mother and your grandmother, and I'm sorry for anybody who's lost a mother or a parent. I've said before, I lost my dad 11 years ago now.
Well, hey, Red Pill, can I take like the next couple minutes to
Go ahead.
expound on that? Because I know that we wanted to talk about that, or I wanted to. Because we talked about not doing a show, which I'm glad we did. This has been great, and your mother's awesome. But I decided personally, because I know I've told a lot of people, and I'm not going to get into details, but I lost my mother at a very young age. I do remember her. I was about 7 years old when she passed.
Oh.
And so I wanted to do this show because I know that there's a lot of people out there that either they lost, their mother through, older age or anything like that, but also the tragedies type of situations that I can relate to. Personally, we wanted to have a moment of a show and just kind of hang out and stuff. So to that super chat's point, like there's a lot of you out there that are just like me who lost, their mother at young age, or not even that, but just like tragically, like situations or relatives in general. But to stay in the tune of this day, you're not alone in that. I would not be the man that I am now if I didn't know what my mother wanted me to be and what she taught me even in those short years. And then therefore it happening, putting me on a brand new path that a lot of people don't go down. You tragically lose somebody of that kind of influence in your life. You don't know, you're not going down a path that's expected, what God intended, as far as, the mother and the father, the full family type thing. But my mother was very involved in, a lot of people know that my father's a preacher, or was a preacher. She was very involved in that, but she liked to keep to herself, which I like to do in my own life. But she would very much work with, children, the families. She would work behind the scenes. She never wanted credit. She just wanted to help and take care of people. And she always instilled that in me, to believe in the humanity of people, but always not give too much to where people can take advantage of it. That's one thing that she taught me. But she also just she was very compassionate. She put us first, me and my sister. And therefore, like, I take that with me because that's who she wanted to be with her life. She didn't want anything else but to take care of her kids and take care of the people in our church and the people around our community. So to everybody out there that's lost, that this day isn't what it's supposed to be as far as like publicly. You have a different path, but it's giving you a direction that can make you stronger. It can make you fight harder. It can help you through everything. And I want to, to anybody that might look up to the Method's name or whatever, I came from that broken, past. And I'm very proud of what I could create. And I'm very, I want to make her proud. And I know that I'm trying. So just everybody out there, you are still meant to be here. And that path is meant for you, and I hope that you find your way and get to the best of your abilities.
Absolutely. She is proud of you, dude. I mean, she's totally looking down at you. And anybody who's lost their mother, I mean, nobody is ever truly gone. There's still a connection there, and you'll see them again.
That's right.
Yeah.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
To a non-mojo, I didn't mean to hide your remark there. I'm multitasking here, and I hit hide, and I meant to hit show. So
Hold on.
You post that again?
I can't post it again, but I will read.
No, he can do it, right?
Yeah, non-mojo. Yeah, go ahead and post it again, buddy. That was an accident. It happens. I get messages from people and they say, your mods hit me. And it will happen accidentally, guys, because the chat is going by so fast and they're just trying to keep it comfy.
No, that's never a mistake if we hide someone.
No. It's happened.
No,
it has happened accidentally.
Hiding, no. Hiding their comment.
Yeah.
But hiding them from the chat, that's never a mistake.
Okay. All right. Well,
We know exactly what we're doing.
I stand corrected.
Ask the other mods. We know what we're doing.
All right.
If we time you out, that's not a mistake.
Okay. Baby Love, the message was retracted. So, Baby Love, I don't know what you had said. Our Cloaked Unseen World says, where we go one, we go all. We easily disregard its true meaning. When we hear something sounding cray and not part of our own, why are we scared of the unknown? Why are we scared of the unknown? Why are we scared of the unknown? Leave no one out. Okay. Sorry, it was written phonetically, not... Yeah, this is an excellent point, and this is something that I've brought up before. It's okay for us to have different beliefs, and there are certain things that some of us are not going to jive with, and there are other things that we believe or that that we want to research that other people are not going to jive with themselves. I think what's important is that we share a common set of goals and morals. That is the most important thing, and this movement is about restoring our country, okay, and taking our country back, restoring freedom, restoring justice, and beyond that, everything else will get sorted in the end. Real Pinjunio, life is a test, many quest the universe, and through my research I felt the joy and the hurt. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first, the basic instructions before leaving Earth. I like it. I like it a lot. Red Pills Warhawk says, please thank your mom for raising a great man who looks out for others. And I love you, man. Thank you. Also, Methods, love you too, bro. Yes, thank you, Mom. I will forever be grateful for everything that you've done and the man that you've helped me to become. You had a tremendous impact on me, and I think it goes without saying. All mothers do, but obviously you're my mom, so you're one of the most important people in the world to me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Well, we wanted to ask you about a story that recently came out. Johnny P, the former, he was the campaign manager for Hillary, for HRC.
Yeah.
He was big in 2015. Many people were talking about him, and for good reason, I believe. But some testimony just recently came out. Mom, have you gotten a chance to dig into any of those documents that came out this past week?
No, I'm waiting for you to do it, and all your great listeners. I know we're going to get a lot of really cool extractions from that.
So, in the testimony, John P. Admitted that the officials from the Clinton campaign and the DNC facilitated the research for the dirty dossier. I'm wondering if you think that information coming out, like to anybody in your life who still thinks, maybe there is some truth to the dossier or thinks that President Trump is a terrible person, do you think that this might have any effect on them? I mean, the knowledge that this was just some political opposition research and, the truth of it's coming out, it's just a bunch of people making up stories. Well,
it depends where it comes out, because we've known this.
Right.
We've known this for years, but is the mainstream media going to give it any traction? Because if they're not, I mean, again, you can talk to people and you can watch their eyes just drift where it's like, I'm not listening to you anymore, because if they haven't heard it from their masters of the mainstream media, then it doesn't exist. And we can show them all the proof that we want to, or we can say to them, I'm not making this up. Go do your research for yourself. But I think a lot of people are just too lazy to do the research. I'm too lazy to do the research. They're too lazy to even think about doing that. And they're just waiting for the mainstream media to tell them. So if it's in a headline and they can digest it in a headline, because I think that's what most people do, they don't read the article. I remember years ago in a journalism class that we were told you have to write at the level of an 8th grader. And you've got to put everything that you want the person to know in the first paragraph, because they're not going to get to the end of your article. And it's just the long and the short of it. So
that's interesting.
If the mainstream media tells them that this happened or puts it in a headline that intrigues them to read the first paragraph, maybe, but then again, what have we been saying? This all happens when it's supposed to happen. It's like when there's a critical mass in somebody, they're going to wake up. And it's how you wake up out of sleep, right?
Yeah.
It's that critical mass of that wakefulness. Until then, you're going to be asleep. So when that happens, then they'll want to read beyond the headline. Then they'll want to read beyond that paragraph. And then they'll ask somebody that they know has been talking about this stuff for a long time that they haven't listened to explain it to them.
Methods, have you tracked any coverage of these revelations that have come out last week? Is anybody in the mainstream media talking about this stuff besides Fox?
Not that I've seen. I don't really venture over there unless I know they have a guest that I want to see them lie or mess up, if it's a Biden appearance or something like that. No, I haven't, but a lot of the headlines I am seeing from them is how dare Flynn lie. And they're sticking to that story. And it's a terrible story to stick to. But yeah, I haven't seen anything.
Okay. Let's see. Diana Davenport said, what do y'all know about the black man that was shot in Virginia? Is this the guy that the father and son went after him because they said that they thought that he was a robber or something like that, and he was on a jog? If that is the story, then yeah, I think that one I need to know more about it because the way that it's being portrayed, the hashtag that's been put out for this guy. It seems like another Trayvon situation. These guys need to have their day in court, and we need to know more evidence about it. Have either of you heard anything about this story? I think it was Ahmed something or other. Anybody?
Me, I've seen a little bit about it. I know somebody who's been following a lot, so I can ask him about it. But I was just like you. I was like, this is becoming another situation where it's more division and they're hyping things up, whether it's, race war type stuff or whatever. So no, I just kind of moved on to other things I was working on because I also saw other headlines saying that there's more to the story and they were catching him in it. So yeah, it's something that me and you probably need to look more into, but a lot of people are following it. It's just not one of the things that I've been able to keep up with.
Yeah. I guess that it happened like some time ago, like over a month ago or something.
Right.
Like
No,
that.
That's the point that really got to me was it didn't happen in real time. It was something that got brought up from the past. And I don't know necessarily why. And I was like, okay, they're dredging this up now because they need another narrative that's Trump's America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it was February.
Okay, so that's a long time ago. And somebody in the chat said that they went after him in cold blood. Again, I don't know that that's the case because I haven't seen the evidence one way or the other. All I've heard is the reporting from what looked to be like CNN or MSNBC or something like that. So I want to know more before I can make a judgment on it. Let's see. Our Cloaked Unseen World says it's about a lot more than that. It's World to Be 2. The world to be too. Yeah, we're moving into the next phase of humanity's ascension. I think that this has been a tremendous wake up call for so many people. I'm sure that there are people here who, until President Trump came into office and this was all exposed, who thought that they understood how the world worked. But now people are understanding more and more that we've been lied to. Everything that we knew or that we thought we knew was carefully constructed and it was fed to us on a platter. And now people understand that the mainstream media is not actually producing the news. They're not telling us the truth. Let's see. Baby Yoda said prohibition of alcohol was to design cars to run on oil rather than corn. Follow the money, going way back. The Great Awakening started long ago. Yeah, this is not the first time that we've been in a situation like that. It's industry over people. Law Dog says, you guys rock. Humor is good for the heart. Red Pill Mom, you are loved. Please don't zap me where we go on, we go all. Michael on Wheels says, what would it take for you to leave California? I actually don't live in California. My mailbox is in California. So it wouldn't take much for me to leave California. I would only go there for a short visit. Are You Handy said, Barry said scot-free at 35 seconds. He did. He did say scot-free in that leaked phone call. Scot-Free Productions did the movie White Squall, where we all get our favorite Anon sayings, i.e. where we go one, we go all. POTUS 35 was JFK. Happy Mother's Day. Red Pill Mom. Real Red Pill Mom. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Oh, thanks.
Social Distancing Observer says, my mom is blue-pilled and apologized for being a bad mom today because she doesn't want to talk about politics. She loved talking about impeachment, though. Yeah, everything's a little different now. Are You Handy? Thanks for joining as a member. Daro Bruno says Stefan Molyneux has a video about the subject of the father and son who went after the jogger. It's not what the mainstream media is saying it is. Check it out. I am subscribed to Stefan Molyneux. I will definitely check it out. Nathan Scheil says ABC is trying to justify the Obama Wuhan grant just a few minutes ago. That is interesting news. Definitely something to check into. And the Punisher says still not wearing a mask. Yeah, we had to put one on today because every store in our area, they won't allow you to come in, or at least they'll give you a hassle if you go in. Yesterday, I had to get my daughter a new battery for her car at AutoZone, and they wouldn't let me come in until I put my jacket up over my face. It was ridiculous. I also did just want to say, and I showed this earlier, but Method's got a hat tip in that article about JP that the boys at Gateway Pundit put out.
And I want to give credit. That's why I put the hat tipping on. I got it. I might have got that from the boards. I can't remember, or somebody shared it with me, but it needed to be out there. So, and Jim Hoft is great from the Gateway Pundit, and he knows that he can grab whatever we're working on. So I'm excited because it wasn't that retweeted by the president, right?
Yes, it was.
So it's exciting times, but I don't want to run and say I'm the one that found that specifically. I found someone who found it and wasn't taking credit. So, but with that said, it is very, very condemning evidence.
Yeah. Well, the next thing we want to talk about, this kind of goes along with it. You guys, I'm sure everybody is familiar with the former DNC staffer who was deleted in the streets of D.C., Seth R. Apparently, the Office of the DNI is alleged to have communications between him and Wiki You-Know-Who, and it proves that the whole Russia collusion narrative is a lie. Who's talking about this methods? This is Ty Clevenger. He's that attorney that works with Matt Couch's team.
I'm not sure about it being on Matt Couch's team. I know you're closer to him than I am.
Yeah.
But you understand where this is going, right? If the DNI's got communications about this, Obama's president, what he's hanging his hat on is that because of the hack and being Russians, he told his intel agencies to collect all the information they can so they can quote unquote hand it to the next president so it can never happen again in the middle of an election. If the fact that this is proven, that means Obama and them had this, then it makes his entire argument fall on its face. So seeing that pop up today, that's why I said it's one of the tippy top biggest breaking news today, is the fact that if the DNI's got it and now it's being requested for it to be made public, that's a problem. That's a very big problem for the entire spy, collusion situation that happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, it pushes it back farther than any of the investigations, so that would prove that they've had this information since the very beginning. The whole case with Seth has been absolutely overshadowed and clouded by mystery and subterfuge. They clearly did not want the truth to come out about this, and it was pretty strange the behavior of Debbie Wasserman Schultz. What she showed up at the actual funeral, but then later she claimed to not have any actual knowledge of him. We had the metadata of Donna Brazil and Muriel Bowser, the mayor of D.C., showing that they were apparently at the hospital that night. Got witness reports of them being at the hospital, but they claim to be out of the state, So, I mean, there's so many weird things. And if the ODNI has it, then that means Rich Grinnell has it. That means there's a really, really good possibility that this could be coming out.
I think not to cut you off, but there's a time and a place for things. If you notice how things are breaking in news, you notice that there needs to be a certain way it goes about, right? Well, anybody that's been following Bill Binney a part of his complaints and stuff, because they were the ones that were approving that it was a flash drive download as compared to a Wi-Fi virtual hack download situation. I think Bill Binney's being scheduled for a time and place to speak the truth, and we're going to see him kind of show up in this situation. Now, I don't know if the timeline shifted because they moved the extradition hearing for Assange to September, but maybe they're trying to lay the stage now, and they're going to justify why he needs to be brought over to talk. And I think Bill Binney is going to be a part of that explanation.
I mean, that would be great. Bill Binney has a lot of respect in the intel community. He's, been out there as a whistleblower and, had, I believe it was the Obama administration that tried to, put a stranglehold on him, not putting any information out. So if Bill Binney is involved in this, then that would be a huge coup in terms of getting the truth out. The Punisher says, still not wearing a mask. Julie D says, Obamagate's now at 847,000 tweets. I just want to get a quick update. I am showing 866,000. Either way,
so good.
We're so close to cracking 1 million, guys. Continue to retweet, continue to tag the Obamagate hashtag, put your own unique tweets out there, share other people's tweets, reply to tweets, include that Obamagate hashtag. This is big news, guys. This is big. And then the Punisher says, please pray for our military always. We need them to be safe. And then Baby Yoda says, I'm your Huckleberries. Welcome again, Baby Yoda. Let's see. We had, this is incredible. Now, there's been a lot of hatred directed at Dr. Deborah Birx, and I'm not saying it's not warranted. However, she was just heard in a phone call with the director of the CDC saying that there's nothing from the CDC that she can trust. She officially told the CDC director that claims of CV-19 mortality are inflated by as much as 25%. So this is my question. Is Dr. Deborah Birx getting red-pilled on the whole subject of CV-19? Or has she been portrayed as, somewhat of a villain when the whole time maybe that wasn't the true story?
I want to know what Mama 78 thinks about Birx, so go ahead.
What I think about Birx, I don't know her. I don't know. Her teeth bother me. I don't trust people with really, really crooked teeth. It's like, I don't know if you're telling me the truth or not. And it's totally ridiculous. It's like, that's like the art of Chinese face reading. That's one of their things. It's the crooked teeth. But there was something else that I was thinking about, and now you've got me thinking about her teeth, and I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah. Did anybody see the thing on OAN News? And it was like a banner at the bottom of one of their broadcasts or something, and it was all about
the NWO.
No, OAN.
No, yeah. OAN had a segment saying that there was some collusion between the DNC and China, and they showed the pyramid with the eye on top, talking about the New World Order. But yes, I saw that. Did you happen to catch that?
I sure didn't.
Okay.
No. This says coronavirus reports deep state China used COVID-19 for population control.
Yes.
Soros, Clinton's, Gates suspected of Beijing WHO cover up to seize COVID cure, undo U.S. Constitution. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Is that for real?
I mean, that was a real story, yeah. And say CV-19 next time, Mom.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I got all this way, and I didn't say your name. And
I know. It's okay.
I said that.
Everybody.
And I didn't drop an F-bomb or anything.
Oh, wow. You guys. Well, yes. Did anybody else see that OWN story? This is something that I've been meaning to try to catch over the weekend, but I just haven't had a chance yet. Because it seems to be pretty incredible that they would put this out. I mean, OWN is virtually the only what I would consider mainstream news channel that I trust. Even saying that, I mean, sometimes there's things they put out that I don't necessarily agree with, but I mean, they're certainly better than any of the other big players out there, and they're relatively small, but they are gaining in popularity and they're gaining in credibility. So yeah, what people were doing, people on the left were sharing this story and then using it, to say, are we living in the Twilight Zone? I can't believe that Owen would say this. It's it's an insane theory. Why would they put that out? So...
Well, why do they have Jack Pacific still on the payroll is still something that I wonder about.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, once again, anybody that reports stuff, try to find other things to verify it to that degree. But the whole situation about this whole health thing, because we have different doctors and professionals arguing with each other, it's become this big spat on Twitter. In between like Dr. Shiva and all these different people, and people ask me which side am I taking. I was like, I don't know, because I'm not in the health world.
Yeah.
And they all sound smart enough to be right when they're making their point, but we've learned really quickly to not trust anybody, even if they sound good.
Right. And, and I also, before we go, we got 2 minutes left, you guys. Almost 5,000 people still here, 3.5 thousand likes. Please consider leaving a like before you leave. I need to say thank you to EO2 Dave. He says, do you think the D5 release will vindicate Trish Reagan? And then Baby Love 78, this has been my favorite show. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Methods, what do you think? Do you think the D5 release will vindicate Trish Reagan?
I don't know. I'd like to see it happen.
It would be a good thing. Well, the last thing I wanted to leave you guys with is just to let you know that since we're on the subject of Dr. Deborah Birx, Dr. Fauci is in modified quarantine. I almost said quarantine. I thought that was kind of funny and, fitting. We had just over the weekend, several people within the White House who were apparently, came in contact with people who were infected. And so they've been removed. This goes back to Mike Pence. President Trump said he's been put on a plane to go far away. So I know that many people saw that and thought, like, heck, maybe this is the opportunity. It's weird. We had all these celebrities, and now these people who are working against President Trump are also now coming down with it. But I still don't know anybody in my real life. All right. Well, listen, Mom, thank you so much for being here today. Happy Mother's Day. I love you very, very much.
I love you too, and it's absolutely my pleasure. It was just a gas to be here. I love
so
being on this side of the conversation.
Well, thank you for your modding skills as well, and for continuing to help us keep the chat comfy every time. You come to every show, so it clearly shows your dedication.
I'm going to be there anyway, so I might as well work.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
And Methods, it's just a real treat to hang out with you.
Right. No, I appreciate it, and happy Mother's Day to you. I look at your son as a brother. He's been there for me. I just see him that way. I don't have a brother, so. With that said, by proxy, happy Mother's Day to you. And
that's right.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everybody that's been hanging out with us tonight. Hopefully we've given you guys a few hours of entertainment and hanging out during, this Mother's Day, whether you enjoy it, love it, hate it, or whatever. But no, we really appreciate it. And we will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, correct?
That's right.
Quarantine.
Yep.
Right. We'll be another week of quarantine.
We're going to keep plugging away, guys. As long as the country's not open fully, we're here for you. And then also, of course, at 6 p.m., Red Pill News. Make sure you guys catch us there. You guys, if you haven't yet, give your mom a call. Tell her you love her. Do something special for her. And for that matter, tell everybody in your life that you love them and hang out with them. One more quick one. Nathan Shiles says, it's because of Trump that I bought a new 2019 pickup truck and house because of the tax cuts. There you go. President Trump doing good things for the country. And then Zoso Dude says, folks, remember me with a couple of prayers for my surgery tomorrow. That's right. You got shoulder surgery, was it? Happy Mother's Day to all, especially RP's mom. And then Baby Yoda, thank you again as well. So yes, everybody keep Zoso Dude in your prayers because he's got surgery. All right, guys, I love everybody here. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to Methods. And thank you to my mother. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank for everybody who supported the channel, everybody who dropped into Methods PayPal. We appreciate you so much. It's only because of you that we're here to do this work. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.